Hey guys, so today I wanted to go through the process for my new coloring style since a lot of people seem to be interested in it, so here we go. First I'm just going to go through a sketch real quick and I'll give a quick run through of what I'm using to provide some context and some background. This program I'm working with right now is Metabang Paint Pro, and I have been using Photoshop or Paint Tool SI for the last 7 years, but my new Artisol D13 tablet hates both of those programs. So I've had to switch to Metabang, and it works fine. There's also some tools that I like a lot better than SI, so I'm still just getting used to this. But yeah, for sketching, it's all your preference. It's all up to you and how you prefer to start your drawings and how you prefer to lay down your sketches. After I'm done with the sketch, I'm going to go in with a light peachy color for my skin base because that's what the reference photo I was using was. And then I'm going to block out the hair just so I know, where the boundaries, I guess, of the face and the head are, and so I know exactly what areas of the face I'm working with in this blob. Oh, quick note, I do work mostly on one layer above the sketch layer. Sometimes I'll add in a layer or two above or below for some detailing, but I'll usually merge those in before, I finish up. So right now I'm going in with a light blue color for the shadow areas, for the darker areas, and this really depends on how I'm feeling, what colors I decide to use that day, because I don't always use the blue. Sometimes I go in with a purple, sometimes I go in with a pink, sometimes I go in with, a gray. It really depends on what kind of colors I'm going for, what kind of look I'm going for, but I do usually go from the skin tone to the blue just because it does, it provides some contrast but not too strong of a contrast. Sorry, the eyes are going to be really wonky for this whole drawing. I was having some issues and I have no idea why, but I worked it out. After the light blue, I'm gonna go in, I'm just gonna try to redetermine where everything's going because I am drawing on top of the sketch. Sometimes I'll bring the sketch back up just so I can, and put it on low opacity so that I'll have something to work off of, but for the most part, I do kind of end up working blind. So I'll go in like this and re-sketch some of the areas that I need to know. So I do need to know where all the facial features are. And yeah, the sketch is gonna look really weird. I mostly go about fixing mistakes that I've made when I'm going through the actual coloring process and the detailing process. So my sketches always end up looking really weird. And I know, but you know what? As long as it works fine in the end, right? Alright, so here I'm going in with a purple. I do usually tend to use a lot of purples when I'm working with peachy skin tones. I'm trying not to anymore because I noticed that there's a lot of purple in my recent works, but it's just such a nice color. Oh, I also went in with a darker denim-y navy blue, I don't know what you would call that, to define more of the neck. And I do also, every once in a while, try to block out the clothing or some of the background maybe even. And I'll hop around to the hair every once in a while, just so everything's kind of looking kind of on the same level as I work. I don't want to be thrown off later on by how undone the hair is or how I don't know where the clothes lay, So I'll just jump around every once in a while. And then I also bring in oranges for my lights. Oranges or yellows, just basically the lighter colors on the color spectrum, Sometimes I do switch it up, I'll use a really, really saturated, really vivid blue for a highlight. But for the most part, I stick with the lighter colors, generally on the lighter areas, and I use the blues, purples, greens for shadows. Yeah, I don't really know how I can describe exactly how I go about choosing my colors or how I lay them down. I'm working with a reference on this picture, so I'm kind of following the shadows and the lights that are in the photo, but not exactly. I'm also kind of creating my own, or I'm like ignoring some details. But in here, I went in with the purples for my darks, some of like the teal blue for the in-between shadows. And I always like to make really vivid lips. I don't know if everyone else likes it, but I love it, so I'm gonna keep doing it. And after that, I've established all the basic shadows, all the basic highlights. All that's left is to go in and detail everything. So I'm just gonna go back in, rework some of the colors, add in some more colors, add in details, work on the eyes, work on the lips, work on the nose, work on the hair. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Enjoy watching, and thank you for clicking.